Welcome to MGoRadio. God.
Maybe?
9?
9, I think we're on 9.
5.9?
Yes, 5.9.
By this time in the season, we're all a little punch drunk.
We just had a bye week. We just had we got to.
Yeah, I had a bad kind of bye week where I did like nothing on the UFR for like a week, and then I just had like a regular week. And the good kind of bye week is you get half of it done the first week, you get the second half done, but I was just like, I'm out, I'm checked out.
I had a really bad kind of bye week, the kind where like I was just dealing with a major issue in my house that was making it unlivable, and I mean, fortunately,
I had something
the bye
for
week.
this. Oh well.
Yeah, it like certain institutions, my boiler is now irretrievably broken.
Probably not Purdue then.
No, they'll heal. Purdue heals.
Yeah, I mean
everything that's wrong with them is just like time, bandages, and a couple more years with Jeff Brom. He's not leaving for Louisville. He's not leaving for anyone.
Well, it's Michigan State week, and so it's always kind of a tense week, but a little bit less tense because it really seems like they've packed it in.
I mean, I don't know if they've packed it in. Like, they're gonna go to the last man.
Well, someone's packing it in for them then.
There's gonna be like D'Antonio and 3 of his assistants in a foxhole. Like, we're still here. This is still happening.
That would be fine. I've reached the point where it's like, all right, Mark D'Antonio, I need you to stay for 2-3 more years until the whole roster is guys who had like a Bowling Green offer that might have been committable.
Right.
And then at that point, we can move on to the Mike Tressel era.
I mean, are we going right to Mike Tressel? Like, there are Sparties out there. Like, as long as you've been in the program, you're allowed back in again,
Who's
right?
they going to hire?
I mean, the guy at Pitt?
I mean, I'd take that. The guy who keeps kicking field goals from the 1-yard line? That'd be fine.
Right. I mean, he's ready for Spartandom. He's got, like, his ridiculous excuse for whatever he just did because he doesn't want to,
Yeah.
I didn't fail. What are you talking about? This is exactly the strategy that I needed, and this is what we thought about. We needed those 3 points when we were down 4.
It'll probably be Luke Fickell, I'd imagine.
Unless he goes to USC or something.
No, USC isn't going to hire Luke Fickell.
Well, they're not hiring Urban Meyer.
Well, I mean, but there's other people out there other than...
No, there are not. There are 2 people in the entire world who are capable of coaching right now. That's how unless someone wants to grab PJ Fleck out of Minnesota right now.
You don't think Matt Rule would be of interest to USC before any of those guys?
I have not. I'm so far away from a coaching search that I haven't even looked into what skeletons might be behind things. And
there's Matt Rule. There's Matt Campbell at Iowa State. There's some good options out there that before anyone major is going to take a swing at Fickell, especially because Fickell is basically the clay of Ohio turned into a human being. So he even looks like Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But is he going to get to his big program like Adam Sandler did, and then just coast?
No. I mean,
invite his buddies in, and they're just like, we're going to play Hawaii this week. We're going to play,
I don't really know where you're going with that.
The Adam Sandler's career is where I was going.
Yeah. See, I don't.
Okay, you want to go to Maryland?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to Maryland. So this happened a long time ago now, but traditionally we do take one look back in the post-analysis phase,
right,
at the game that just happened. And the Maryland game, a bit of an odd duck because Shea Patterson mostly made good decisions approximately on time and then just threw the ball poorly. Which is
not, other than when he's got wind or something.
Which doesn't really fit our picture of Patterson's strengths and weaknesses, where he can be a little bit slow to come to a decision. He can exit some clean pockets, but he's always super accurate. Not so much this week.
Yeah, well, Spath talked to a guy who seemed to have he basically saw a lot of the things in practice that we see on film and made some sense out of it. And one of them was that Shea does not want to lead his receivers or go across the middle.
Yep.
And
so.
And I think those have been taken out of the playbook entirely, which is, that's chopping a large part of any offense. If you want to.
Well, and one thing that also got chopped out of the playbook were any sort of reads in this game, right? So there are 2 quarterback runs for Patterson. One's a quarterback sneak, and one is a just a quarterback power play on the goal line. So you're not actually running the arc.
Right.
You're not actually like putting various parts of the defense under stress. And that's kind of why you have another day where Michigan has 2 runs of more than 10 yards. And one of them is the chunk run from Wilson, and that's the thing that gets them up to 4.6 yards a carry against a defense that's, 70th in SP+. So it just kind of goes back to what we've been saying all year. Like, if you are running from the shotgun and you haven't dedicated yourself to becoming Wisconsin, then without a reasonable quarterback threat, either as an RPO guy or as an actual runner, your running game is going to top out at mediocre. And that's kind of what we've seen.
I mean, we've also seen Michigan do that the entirety of Harbaugh's career when he's got a read option quarterback, that like that whole part of the offense just gets put away against teams that they're pretty confident of beating.
Yeah, and the context of this game makes an argument that you could be pretty confident this game was going to be a win from the opening snap.
Yeah, Maryland was – that was the weird thing about that game. I mean, it's so long ago that it's like hard to remember all the feelings from that game, but they have that opening kickoff, and you're like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, and I mean, I just don't have a whole lot of, optimism that they're going to be able to put it together. And they're going to have a really good game against a really good defense, even though that they had that Notre Dame game. And you go back and you look at that, and you look at what the Notre Dame linebackers are doing, and you're just like, you guys might kind of suck, right?
Yeah, the Notre Dame linebackers absolutely suck. And that's, it's hard to find good linebackers. But, like, Ohio State's linebackers are, I mean, they're the same guys as last year. They're better coached this year than they were before.
I mean, that's the number 1 defense in the country. So, not the Notre Dame defense.
They're the number 1 defense in the country because their defensive line is ridiculous.
Those guys will also be playing against Michigan.
Yes. So I mean, the problem is everything that Michigan does is going to look fine against all of our competition until we get to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And there's really no test for Ohio State. No one else. I mean, Raekwon Williams might be kind of a test this week for like one of the guys that they have.
But anyway, back to the offensive performance against Maryland.
Yes.
They brought out a thing that is technically a trap, but felt just a lot like just running power because they were letting one of their defensive ends go because Maryland was in an odd front for most of the game. And that guy knew that he was going to be let go and he needed to like play against power. And then most of the time the guy meeting that guy was an offensive lineman. So when I hear the word trap, what I assume is that it's a play where it looks like you're threatening one gap. You're actually trying to threaten another gap. And you're trying to get a tight end on defensive line block that works because the defensive lineman thinks he's unblocked and goes vertical immediately.
I mean, you could do it with a pulling guard, too, but the idea is you're letting a defensive lineman walk up, not necessarily the end, but you're letting a defensive lineman jump into the backfield thinking, ha-ha, you've forgotten to block me. And then we go, no, sir, we have not.
Right.
Smack, run.
And that was not what Michigan was doing. They were basically just running power a gap further inside.
Yeah.
And so it's a trap, but it was mostly just gap stuff. And that's interesting because Michigan hasn't run very much gap stuff at all this year.
No, but I mean, it's great based off of what they're doing because both of their base runs, they got the arc stuff and then they've got the pin and pull. So one attacks the outs, pin and pull is going the front side, arc is attacking the back side, and the middle has been like, okay, you don't even need people there. And that was the thing I next sharpied against Notre Dame is that they were just putting extra guys on the edges because you don't need to cover the B gap and the A gap. They're not going to run there.
Yeah.
Like they run power once against Notre Dame, and it works. They run something kind of like power against Maryland, and it works.
But this continues to feel more like a Harbaugh run game, seemingly every week. Like, not only do you have a lot of gap block plays in this game, but you also have kind of a wild swing in what Michigan is doing from game to game. So instead of, okay, we're an inside zone team that does inside zone things.
Right.
Or we're an outside zone team that does outside zone things. This week, Michigan brings out a bunch of gap block stuff, and I don't know what we're going to see against Michigan State, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that was part of the fun of Harbaugh when he first got here. Remember 2015? We're like, ooh, what's he going to pull out next?
Oh, yeah, there was a game against Maryland where they just ran the T formation the whole time, and I was just like, all right, this is interesting. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, and they had like different fullback traps and stuff like that. And then they brought out the train, and there was all sorts of cool stuff they did. But it was always, I mean, the concepts were the same. It's just it was messing with what you were trying to do. They were like, okay, they just saw they saw what we did. They're going to put in this to mess with it. We're going to mess with that by doing this.
Yeah.
One of the things, the thing I next sharpied this week was, you noticed this too, that they were running their same pin and pull, but they were just cutting off the back side of it. So they were running a pin and pull, but those blocks are almost like zone blocks, and they can just, all right, if you guys want to jump to the front side of it, we're just going to cut backside.
Well, so usually a pin and pull has two guys pulling, and the first guy was still kicking out.
Yeah.
He didn't really have time to do anything else, but we saw this a couple times where the second guy would see that Maryland was defiantly not going to get edge. They're like, you got to go inside. And so he was able to like change his flight path, go inside, and have some sort of positive impact. Mike Onwenu did this on the chunk run for Wilson, and I gave him a plus even though he didn't really hit anybody except his teammate, just because I'm a sucker for offensive linemen making like hard decisions that are right post snap. So Bredesen got a couple of +1s for doing some high level thinking.
Mm-hmm. Well, you notice that play Runyon did the same thing. On the big true run, Runyon is supposed to be blocking down on the end. And then instead, the end like is jumping outside him. He's like, okay, you want to be there? I'll put you there. And he kicks him out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty, like when you're engaged with somebody.
Right.
And they pop outside, you don't really have a choice except to be like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Because the defender gets to decide what side of you he's on, and you get to decide, hopefully, how far that goes.
Yeah.
And then the back has to pick through it and do what he does. And that was a nice play from Wilson, one that Charbonnet had an opportunity to make earlier in the game and did not. So we haven't had a whole lot of missed cuts. But if Michigan is going to continue using pin and pull as a staple, we're going to have to see those backs be a little bit more willing to cut upfield.
Right, and that's the thing. If you're going to run this as your base, they're going to practice it like it's your base. Yeah. And then you have to be able to everybody kind of react to the same thing. Which, I mean, we saw them do it. Hassan Haskins did a great job of it in the Illinois game when Illinois was like, we don't need an edge. Just run out the edge.
Well, I mean.
But that's another in-play adjustment to pin and pull where the kick-out guy he gets there and the guy wants to go inside of him, so he buries him. Somebody else will pop outside, and then the second puller has to become the kick-out guy.
Yeah, I mean, the bounce when there's nobody on the edge is running back 101, I kind of think. And what I'm asking for is the running back 301, maybe. So the other thing about the Maryland game was the defense had kind of a weird game where they have those two 12-play drives where it doesn't feel great because Maryland is just running for 4 yards a pop like their Army. And on these runs, they are attacking Michigan's desire to spill power.
Yeah.
So they're adding second guys and kicking out the defensive end who's supposed to work his way inside, and then they get to go to work on Michigan's defensive tackles.
Right.
And Michigan's defensive tackles are this year.
Yeah.
And I think that this was kind of the definitive they're because we thought, okay, they're really bad in the Wisconsin game, but they bounce back from that. They have a pretty good 4, 5, 6 games in a row.
Well, Iowa's guards are terrible. And
yeah.
Notre Dame is kind of iffy on the guards.
Well, especially after their best interior starter goes out.
Right.
So it kind of feels now like that was more about competition level, and they are just kind of Now, later in the game, Michigan was able to resume spilling.
Yeah.
Because the defensive ends were fighting ever harder to get back inside. But that's why you saw 2-yard runs, 4-yard runs to the outside, because they were fighting so hard inside that it was harder for the linebackers to shut down that space.
I mean, I also want to give some credit to Maryland's backs because Leak kind of turned a 2-yarder into a 4-yarder here or there. And,
yeah.
McFarland is.
I mean, McFarland gave Cam McGrone a stiff arm and put him to the ground. I was like, oh. Like, I wasn't even mad at McGrone about that. I was just like, okay.
Yep.
How can I buy his NFL stock? Because that was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been good since he popped on the scene, and you notice that you had those two running back stars that he put both of them on the bench. So.
Yeah, well, I think they're injured at this point.
But one of them's in the NFL.
Yeah.
One of them's on the Lions.
So
and the other one's injured.
He's technically in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's in the G League, whatever That is for football.
The sad league.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on Lions right now.
But, I mean, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to evaluate just because Maryland's passing game had no chance. So I don't know if I've ever gone through a game and given out 0 pressure minuses, but this was a game with 0 pressure minuses. Which doesn't mean that, like, the quarterback was snowed under every time because there's pushes in there, right, where it's just like there's a guy coming, but there was a reasonable amount of time to get the ball out. But 20 plus 24 minus 0, not a conducive environment to throwing the ball.
Yep. Apologies to Fred Jackson and damage done to his family.
He was on my flight.
He's fine. Like he got rid of the ball a lot. He got sacked a couple times. It's fine. But I thought Mike Dana had a really good game. Like the bad thing about Mike Dana is I'm like finding out that Mike Dana is a pretty good player, and I'm like, all right, this is a new pretty good player, and he's going to be gone next year.
Yeah.
Because he's a grad transfer. But yeah, he's very solid. He had the forced interception. He had a stick on a 3rd and 2 that was pretty impressive, and he was kind of an unsung hero on tamping down those interior runs. So he's a good player. He's going to get drafted, I think, and I'm glad he decided to spend his final year of college eligibility at Michigan.
Yeah, has he kind of pipped Quiddy at this point? He was getting a lot more. His snap count has kind of gone up slowly.
Actually, he's still significantly behind Quiddy and Aiden. Yeah,
Aiden, I think, has kind of emerged as a star already. He's not touchable anymore.
I mean, they're both kind of in the like B+ range.
Okay.
Like I think that Hutchinson has a lot more runway left just because he's a year younger. But yeah, they're both solid players. But they don't get the kind of pass rush that Josh Uche does.
Well,
so like if you could
literally nobody in the country does.
Well, but they don't even like approach it, right?
Right.
Like one-on-one pass rush wins. I can remember a couple from Hutchinson and not really from Pay. Pay's a good team rusher. Pay doesn't get out of his lanes.
They're not at like the level of like Penn State's pass rushers.
Right. They stunt. They get to the quarterback in ways that are productive, but there's not like a one-on-one edge terror in there. And so, I mean, that's kind of good for Michigan because you get a couple good players, and the NFL is going to be like, I don't know about these guys.
Right.
And with Uche, like Uche could probably get a 5th year, but he's not going to take one because
he's going to the
NFL is going to be like, yes, that.
Right.
So it's some of both. It's good as bad. Vincent Gray had probably the best coverage of his nascent career. Nascent?
Isn't
I think both are correct.
Okay.
There are words where both are correct.
I believe you. Anyway.
I'm getting punchy about this.
Maryland's receiver core is not something that's really much of a test.
No. They had the one guy who's kind of like their burly jump ball guy who they didn't even get it to. But not a whole lot to take from the rest of that game. Maryland is bad. Michigan's offense is a little bit still rickety. Still mostly goes back to the quarterback. I don't really think there's a lot of time left for that script to get rewritten.
No. I mean, there's a possibility that he just kind of plays out of his mind one game, and
yep, and that'd be nice.
That could be great.
But that's what I'm hoping for is a completely anomalous performance.
Yes.
Then that's
please something happen that has never happened. I mean, against college football, weirder things have occurred.
That's true.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. We're going to have a gimmicky top 5 that we promise is not about the Michigan State Spartans.
Let me just tell you a couple things to keep in your mind while you're out there. When we take the field, we're going to win. We've got big goals. We've got big ideas. We've got to win this game, and there is no game on the remainder of our schedule more important than the one you're going down to the tunnel to play today. Now let's go. Let's go.
Underground Printing is proud to present the Bow Store. Visit us at our new location at 333 South Main or online at www.bow.team.
It's painless, it's online, it's group ordering made easy for your next custom printed apparel order. Pogo from Underground Printing takes the aggravation out of custom printing for a group. Whether you're selling shirts for a fundraiser, organizing a large event, or trying to collect sizes and payment for a family reunion, Underground Printing is here to help. Save time and hassle every step of the way with our easy-to-use site. No more guessing what to order, chasing people down to pay, or wasting time trying to sort out who needs what. We'll set it up and you can just sit back and relax. We can even take care of individual shipping. To learn more about Pogo, visit us at any of our convenient locations or at pogo.undergroundshirts.com.
Recently, Seth and I were having lunch, and he asked me what someone in their 30s married with children should be doing with their finances. I rattled off some gibberish, and then he said, that's what your next ad should be. So here we go. Hey, it's Nick Hopwood, your MGO financial coach. I'm a certified financial planner, founder, and president at
Peak Wealth Management.
And it would be smart for you to start paying close attention at this point. I think you would want to consider the following. Max out your 401k. I like the Roth 401k, as long as your income is under $415,000 per year. Max out your Roth IRA. Set up your mortgage on a 15-year amortization. Add $500 a month for each kid's $529. Invest with the appropriate risk tolerance. Make sure you have enough life insurance to cover debts, education, and income replacement. Don't take out any credit card debt. Pay all your bills each month. Make sure you have an emergency fund. And if your needs are any more complicated than that, connect with us at peakwm.com to book an appointment.
Peak Wealth Management.
Retire with confidence.
Is your online store sluggish, outdated, underperforming? You may be suffering from chronic crappy website disorder. 1 in 3 online stores built by your brother's friend's nephew currently suffers from chronic crappy website. But now, there's hope. Introducing Human Element. Huel has helped hundreds suffering from CCW to turn their online stores around, creating fast, secure, and engaging online experiences that turn visitors into customers and put products back at the top of their search engine game.
Before Huel, I had abandoned carts, browser errors, and poorly animated GIFs. Now, with Huel, I can focus on what I'm actually good at, running my business.
Jeffrey, would you be a deer and pull the Ferrari around?
Side effects may include increased traffic, customer conversions, better ROI, compliments, elation, and early retirement. Why live with the disappointment of chronic crappy website disorder? Speak to your Human Element consultant today to see if Huel is right for you.
Are you planning a business trip, a Michigan reunion, or a revenge tour in Ann Arbor and don't want to be stuck out by I-94? Look no further than the Residence Inn Ann Arbor downtown. Positioned at the corner of Huron and Ashley, the hotel is just a block from Main Street and a short walk to Michigan Stadium and Central Campus with all the amenities you expect. Also, we podcast here most Sunday mornings, so if you let us know you're coming, we'll let you put a shout out on the pod. That's the Residence Inn Ann Arbor downtown.
Try to push you down, 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 down. Well, he said this and she said that. Well, as a matter of fact, it don't matter. 'Cause I say this and I know that. I've got the whole lot of it, yeah. Sit on my grind like all the time.
Welcome back to MGoRadio 5.9.
Stop counting.
Live from the Vo store on Main Street. We have a gimmicky top 5 of things that are irretrievably broken.
And we have a sponsor with us. And we forgot to read the list, so we might as well do that too.
All right, we'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, the Vo Store and Underground Printing, our associate sponsors, Homeshire Lending, the Residence Inn Ann Arbor Downtown, the University of Michigan Alumni Association, Peak Wealth Management, Human Element, Michigan Law Grad, the Phil Klein Insurance Group, Fuego Box, Ann Arbor Elder Law, Perrin Brewing, and The Athletic.
How does associate sponsor sound?
I just had, I kept calling them the other sponsors, and it sounded so bad. So
yeah,
I made up a term.
They're very meaningful to us.
Yeah. Well, we have one of them with us. Here's Nick Hopwood. How you doing, Nick?
Good evening. Doing well. How are you doing?
If you can't tell, he's a financial manager.
I'm not an accountant. Okay.
Probity. So we do have our gimmicky top 5, but before we get into it, we'd like to ask you, like, who's gonna consume Nick Hopwood services?
I think you're about 40 years old, right?
Yes.
Married with children?
Yes.
So you might be someone in that, age group.
Right. When I'm thinking about retiring and college.
Yeah, thinking about the future, right? College for your kids.
Yeah.
Retirement for yourself. Or you're just going to work forever?
Well,
a lot of people would like you to work forever, I think.
Yeah, I know. But I don't think that's in the cards.
There's also some level of insurance too, right?
I also don't want to be like the guy who's like clearly lost his fastball, but doesn't know it, which happens a lot with sports guys. There's like 100-year-old guy writing for like the Minneapolis Times.
Do you want us to tell you when you've lost your fastball?
That's the problem though, because they're like, "Hey, you've lost your fastball," and they're like, "I'm 87 years old. I don't believe you."
Just rely on the message boards.
Sid Hartman.
Yeah, there you go. I started a podcast about history, so like I know that my fastball is gone. I'm just all.
It's all downhill from here.
No, I've just picked up a flutter ball. I'm gonna make myself into a knuckler now.
Yeah, so if you're 40, right, you want to retire at 60,
42.
42. Okay, that's what we call financial independence, retire early.
Okay.
So the problem with that is you got to save like 70% of your money.
Oh.
While you're working from 21 to 42.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I had to spend it on things.
In fairness, 70% of the money I was earning from 21 to 28 is like what I earn now. my saving in the 20s would not have done me much good. Like, ooh, I've saved 80% of my, yeah.
So it's my job to kind of crush those dreams, right? If you haven't saved the 70%, I get to crush the dreams.
Right.
It's not what I like to do, but I have to, do my job and say, here's where you are, here's where you want to be. Are you doing enough? Right? And that's the CFP, that's the certified financial planner in me that helps coach you and help you make good decisions, understand the consequences, understand if they're reasonable goals, stuff like that.
Look at your E-Trade account and scream at you like, why are you doing this? Have you done that?
Most people who trade their E-Trade account or whatever, they perform severely, underperform severely. Yeah.
So you've done this literally. You've been like, what are you doing?
I have, yes.
So if you need someone to look at your accounts and be like, come on, man.
Right.
Nick Hopwood.
Thank you.
Now
we can do our gimmicky top 5
of things that are irretrievably broken.
Why did you say this has nothing to do with Michigan State?
That's the joke, Seth.
That is the joke.
That is the joke.
But I mean, everyone would know the joke. Everyone understood it.
Let's just do it. And then it'll be fun.
And then I was trying to like lean into the joke so you could make it again. And then you're like,
okay, Seth.
You're just explaining jokes today. You did it with
literally explaining the joke.
You did it on the preview. You were like, in case you don't know what the Domesday Book is, here's the link to the Domesday Book.
That one needed explaining.
No, for Michigan fans?
Yes.
No. They know what they probably read the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle.
Nick, do you know what the Domesday Book is?
Yes.
There you go.
Do you?
No.
See? He's an educated man.
You should read that. You don't have to read
I had to read
Domesday
your
Book.
body language to get the right answer there. Yeah.
All right.
There's a census. All right, anyway.
Seth, you're number 5.
The inexorable and cascading effects of climate change from relying on the burning of fossil fuels, which leads to unpredictable weather patterns. And I am speaking, of course, about the 60-year-old boiler in my house, which just died this month. So
all right, that
thing is dead, kaput, and I've been living in like 60-degree weather in my house, and my entire family is like.
How do you get 60-degree weather when your heater's done?
Because we have space heaters, and
you just have space heaters in your house.
Well, now we got the new boiler in a couple days ago, but it's still a little funky. So, this has been my entire bye week was like dealing with this whole thing, and then everyone's like, here's like what I can do in the next couple of days, and. As a financial manager, I'm sure you would tell me, say, look around and check out different companies. And when you don't have any heat, you have a lot of pressure from the people who are there with you saying, get a boiler in there.
So that boiler, get it out of there. Nick, you're number 5.
I'm going to go with my hot tub.
Okay.
It's done. Toast.
It's done.
Yep. What happened was I didn't winterize it properly.
We're just starting with appliances here.
Yes, you are.
You inspired
This is like the most dad podcast.
Have we lost our fastball?
Basically, I didn't winterize it last winter.
Yeah.
And so it froze all to hell.
A lot of people just kind of fall out of love with their hot tubs and just want to get. My mom had a hot tub, and she's like, I'm going to get rid of it. And then my friend's like, I need a hot tub. And I was able to move the hot tub from one location where it was not wanted to another location where it was wanted. And that's it.
I would like to move it, but the problem is it's actually sunken into the back deck professionally, like on a walkout
so
deck.
this was a pretty bad
and it was
move.
It had to be installed with a crane that actually lifted over the house, which was remarkable to
Whoa.
see. But it was very expensive to put in, and now the hot tub people are saying they have to remove it to fix it. So I'm out.
You're a financial manager,
and
what you need is a hot tub manager.
Yes.
There just needs to be
There are people who do this.
There needs to be like an appliance expert who just tells you, like, look, here's what you're going to expect. They're going to come in, they're going to look at your appliance and say, the people who put this in are idiots, and it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to make up for their mistakes.
I take full responsibility
This
here.
sounds like
I was the idiot. It was my fault.
All right, my number 5 continues our incredibly dad segment of the podcast because it's my floor. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and when you have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old and you pick up your house and everything is neat, and then you look at your computer for 15 minutes and then look up, everything is back on the floor.
Except for the thing they're fighting over. There's like the one Barbie that like they have to, chase each other around for.
We have these dinosaurs, we have Legos, we have everything that when you step on it is agony. And so you're like tiptoeing through a World War I minefield to go anywhere. And you're like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And then finally you get fed up and you clean everything up and you're like, oh, this feels so much better. And then 15 minutes later, you're like, oh, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. So we're trying to treasure the last days in which anyone can be reasonably termed a baby in our house. But also, it'll be nice when they can both be turned off by screen time.
To a degree. There are pitfalls with screen time as you're about to discover.
No. There are none. And I won't hear otherwise, Seth. I don't want to hear it.
It's funny because like my kid's like a year older than yours, and so like I just get to like experience this, and like by the time I get around to telling you one of these stories, you're like, oh, here it goes.
Nope, I don't believe you.
All right,
I do not believe you, Seth. Seth, you're number 4.
The institution of consensus-based representative democracy in America, built on trust, compromise, and mutual pledge to each other of our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, because we are all so soft and lazy today we can't even read the news unless it's contorted to our worldviews and pressed into headlines on social media. And I'm speaking, of course, of Twitter during football games.
Seth, you're like really in Bill Hicks mode right now.
You actually gave me time to come up with this instead of like, hey, here's what our gimmicky top 5 is. Start the podcast.
Okay, so that was my error is what you're saying?
So now I got to I did a Seth.
Don't do that again.
I put effort into things. But my point is Twitter
with
during
such
football,
return.
But Twitter during football games is completely broken. First of all, Twitter can't figure out that like after the 20th or 30th time I've told it, no, just give me the tweets in the order they come. They like you want to go back to like highlights.
Now. You want to go back to the third
quarter.
But
it undoes your option without asking you. It's just like, we're going to put you right back.
And you're always like, why does Twitter suck ass right now? And then you're like, oh,
right.
It's not chronological.
Right. And then the other thing is like people at the game are going to be
showing me that one person who follows me liked a View post. And I'm like, oh, now I'm looking at Whoopi Goldberg.
Right. So, and then like sometimes they'll bring up like posts that were like weeks ago for a different game.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, is that what just happened here? Because you're like 20 seconds behind whoever just posted.
Yeah.
So Twitter during football games is the it's broken.
Nick, you're number 4.
You guys teed me up for the E-Trade day traders. I thought the gimmicky top 5 was all Michigan State, so I'm reshuffling real quick. So
okay.
E-Trade.
Yeah.
Okay. People losing money. People bragging about their winners.
Yeah.
But ignoring the losers, like the casino trips.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like
I'm never going to tell you when I lose money at the casino.
Yeah,
right?
well, I just assume that when you tell me you didn't win money, you lost money.
Okay. But you want to hear about my pot stocks and whatever else I did well with, right? But you never want to hear about the bad ones, right?
No.
Or I want to tell you about the good ones and never about the bad ones. And it's annoying to me.
All right. Very financial planner answer.
That's right.
Now Seth will have something about the Norman Conquest in the next one, I bet.
I forgot that one.
Did you?
No.
Did you forget?
But Norman Conquest? I don't think I mentioned Norman Conquest or anything Anglo-Saxon in this whole thing, which is impressive.
My number 4 is people who watch drag racing. What I don't understand how you can go to a drag race and be like, this is my day. I'm going to watch things go forward at high rates of speed for 3 seconds over and over again. Are they going to turn?
Is
No.
this professionalized drag racing, or is this just people on the going out in the California desert?
Oh, no. I'm talking about the NHRA.
Okay.
I get the appeal of drag racing when it's Fast and Furious drag racing. It's illegal. There's sexy girls. There could be crashes.
Right,
I get that.
What was the George Lucas movie? The movie he made before Star Wars is all about drag racing.
Okay.
Yeah. American Graffiti. That looked fun.
That was Lucas?
Yeah, it's George Lucas.
What I'm talking about is guys in metal yellow jumpsuits driving funny cars for 3 seconds, and it's do they turn? Do they crash?
So is it?
Do they pass each other?
Is it the sport?
Is there any gamesmanship?
Very broadly, is that the sport that's broken, or is it the people who are
the
watching
people.
the sport?
The people who decide that this is what they're going to spend an hour of their lives imbibing.
What about the driver?
The driver's getting paid.
Okay.
I get that. It's a job. I don't think it should be a job, obviously, but I feel there's certain things where you just spend your time doing it. You're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that with my time, my precious time. I only have a limited amount of time in this world.
Right.
And I spent a lot of it voluntarily watching drag racing. I don't know what that person's soul looks like, but Seth, it's not good.
It sounds
it's
terrible.
not good.
No, it sounds like watching the Lions game. It's okay, I'm going to watch the same exact play for 3 seconds, and the same exact thing that always happens is going to happen. And then I'm going to go back and watch the same exact play another game.
Yeah, but even there you have this sort of cultural experience you're having with Southeast Michigan.
No, we don't have a cultural experience around the Lions.
You do!
No, they're just there.
You do!
No, they're just there. No one has a cultural experience
I have
with the
had
Lions.
that same conversation with 75 different people. Every time the Lions comes up, it's are you from Southeast Michigan? Here's my Lions, bitch. So there's nothing of that with drag racing. They're oh, don't remember in 87 when that one car went slightly faster than the other car? No. No. Mm-mm. All right, Seth, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the copyright law and fair use in media and the concept of public realm, because a couple of mega entertainment conglomerates own everything and are battling on legal, political, and technological fronts to claim, control, and DRM everything. And I am speaking, of course, about everything from your childhood that Disney now owns.
Oh. See, I was never a Disney person, really.
But it's not just Disney's person. They own the Muppets. They own
wasn't really
ESPN.
a Muppets person. I mean, that's not my...
They own Star Wars.
Yeah, that is the consolidation of... I mean...
Yeah, and what they've done with all of them is just they Disneyfied them all. They removed the edge of everything. They all had their own voice, and their voice didn't necessarily be that edgy, but
right.
The Muppets had a voice, and now the Muppets are just another cartoon on Disney. They just happen to be puppets instead of a cartoon.
And now National Geographic has been Disneyfied.
Right, so but ESPN is the Disneyfied version of sports coverage.
Well, it's always been like that. When was the hard hitting ESPN?
It wasn't hard hitting, but it had a little bit of sports guys sitting behind a desk talking sports. And now
I like
just
Craig Kilborn, the Feel Good edition on SportsCenter back in the 96, 97. Remember that?
I mean,
remember the Feel Good edition?
No, I do not.
And they all had their they had their lines. Everybody had their catchphrases, and.
But I think that still happens. It's just that SportsCenter is no longer relevant because of Twitter. Would you go watch a highlight on SportsCenter?
I will not.
Right. So, when I found out that someone had swung a helmet at another NFL player and it was his own helmet, where did I go to find out what the heck happened? I just went on Twitter and I scrolled down twice, and it was oh, good God. That's terrible.
SportsCenter just has things that you don't care about, and there's no time for it, right?
I don't think it's. I think it's just an artifact of the fact that we have better ways to get viral information these days.
Yeah.
Nick, you're number 3.
Number 3. Okay. The good old days. Remember of Facebook when we got the Farmville requests? Okay. Remember those days?
I know.
I never actually played. I remember the requests. I never played it.
Yeah.
So
how annoying was that? Seeing the requests.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's less annoying than all the political crap that's on Facebook.
See, I only got on Facebook because I got into local politics, and that's where you have to go to like talk to people.
I despise
about
you
local
for
politics.
that. Okay.
I'm not. I'm not on my timeline. I'm just in the
the
groups. I'm in Ann Arbor YIMBY.
I turned off the notifications, like the little number that shows up in the corner of the box.
Right.
And I just don't go to Facebook anymore. It's awesome.
I tried to revive like the MGoBlog Facebook page because like we do get like enough people who come from that it like would make a difference over a month.
Yeah.
And like so that's why I've been going back to Facebook. Otherwise, I was completely off of it. And in the interim, Facebook is like, oh, all these people that you barely know are now your best friends, and they're going to be on the top of your feed. Like people like I didn't even remember from high school are like now my best friends on Facebook.
Because I stopped using Facebook because a lot of people friended me because I was the MGoBlog guy. And
I friended you.
Oh yeah.
And you friended me back. You said okay.
Yeah. So like I did that, and I was like, because I was like, all right, well I'll market myself or whatever. And then what happened is my feed was full of stuff from nobody I knew, and I quit using Facebook. So it backfired immensely.
It's a structural problem.
Yeah, and like now I went back to it, and if I do click on my newsfeed, it is people I've interacted with recently.
Okay.
So it's actually much better for me. I mean, I'm still not a Facebook person.
My friend who's an author who has probably a lot more followers than you and me and everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
But she was told, okay, create a like page for yourself, like
right, yeah.
So because she had so many readers who were like trying to friend her, so she created that like page, and all of her friends and family go and like her immediately because you gotta like
you gotta like the thing.
You gotta like the thing if she's your friend.
You gotta see the page.
And none of her fans did. All her fans wanted to be friends with her personally. So now her like page is her personal page. And her personal thing is like the thing where she promotes out whatever new book or play or whatever she just did.
Well, why don't we sabotage that? Why don't we tell people who it is and go like her on Facebook because you like her books?
Go like Beth Kander right now and read her books. They're actually really good.
I just like the fact that Twitter shut down the political ads.
Yeah.
And Facebook is like, we'll take the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't care. We're stupid. Look at this guy's haircut. What is like? If you were Mark Zuckerberg, would you have Mark Zuckerberg's haircut?
No.
Yeah. See? I mean, this guy knows what's up.
I'd like to wear a hoodie to work sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not gonna fly.
Not usually.
I get to wear a hoodie to work.
Because you're just pounding away, right?
Yeah.
People have very strong takes about Mark Zuckerberg, and he just seems so vanilla to me. I can't get strong about him.
I think did I talk about this on a podcast already? I saw something on Twitter.
No, I edit all your podcasts.
Where they had side by side pictures of Mark Zuckerberg when he was in Harvard. When he looked like a normal college person. He had hair. It went various directions. It was tufty. He looked like an attractive young man. And then now, for one, he's got this weird bowl haircut that makes him look like an alien impersonating a human. And also the pupils of his eyes are just incredibly large and black. So I think he has been body snatched.
I mean, isn't that just with someone who's been coding for
No,
years and years?
he doesn't code.
I don't think he codes. He just counts his money, man. He's got billions.
But it's the pupils that really get they're unnaturally large. There's no hint of anything except black. He looks like he has been infected by something in a horror movie.
So would you take the billions of dollars if you looked like you were infected by someone from a horror movie? Like if that's what your look was going to be the rest of your life?
If I could reseat the lower bowl of Chrysler, yes. If I had enough money to make sure that there were fans in the lower bowl of Chrysler, I would do it. All right.
That was from Farmville. Farmville to Chrysler.
My number 3 is sports media. So in the past month, we've seen Sports Illustrated get sold 45 times.
Yeah.
And then they fired half the staff, and then they hired people who barely speak English to staff the Notre Dame site.
Yeah, it's the same people. It's like the owner group is the same owner group that came through and destroyed
Scout.
Yeah.
They destroyed Scout.
Yeah.
They almost ran Rivals into the ground. They're totally on the wrong side of history in the Me Too era. They're bad people. They keep hiring each other and doing deals with each other's companies. at like bigger companies that are too stupid to notice that they're being grifted by Jim Heckman. And so that happens, and then the private equity guys who bought Deadspin told Deadspin to stop posting anything except sports, and Deadspin staff
who are Deadspin staff.
Like how stupid do you have to be, like to like read Deadspin for 2 days,
right?
and not understand
like, pull up one article by Lauren Thiessen, like okay, I get it.
One, what the site is trying to do. Two, how likely they are to like have a food fight about this and walk out. So they fire the editor. Everybody walks out. Deadspin is now dead.
They had like some guy from Mars like posting on their site for like a couple of days. It
was, he was English, and he posted a lot about rugby, and he said that Lamar Jackson, quote, shellacked the Patriots. and the best part is that like he like had read a little bit of Deadspin, and he knew that he was supposed to like put some swears in.
So he's just like,
and it felt like that scene in Star Trek 4 where like Kirk comes to Earth and there's like some sort of traffic
I double damn dare you.
He says double dumbass on you.
Double dumbass on you, right?
And that was like the vibe of like the Paul Maidman era for Deadspin.
I wonder if they looked at the numbers for that and they're like, wow, our numbers are really up, and like understood or not, like that it was just people like, I want to see this train.
Because I saw all this stuff because people were like taking screenshots of it and putting on Twitter.
Right, because people were trying to avoid them getting like a lot of hits. But like I still went over to Deadspin to look because I wanted to see the train.
I was
and
never
the
a person
people
who
and the blood and
nah. But like, so you have these two things back to back, and you're just like, oh my god.
Right.
Like what is a sustainable long-term model for this? And Patreon, it seems to work for some people.
Yeah.
You have the subscription models at like 24/7 and Rivals.
The Athletic.
And the Athletic is another good like this can work.
Right.
But other than that, it's like I don't know. And even the Athletic model is like, they posted something. It was about sexual assault, and it felt important. It was behind their paywall, and I was like, this should not be behind the paywall.
Right.
They opened that up, so like I think that even if you have a hard paywall like the Athletic, there's some things that are public service journalism,
right,
that need to be out there.
Yeah, I think there is a model for it of like have certain things free that demonstrate what you are. I mean, the Washington Post has really been like trying to figure out the right mix of this.
I was an incognito person on the Washington Post for a long time, and then they figured it out, and I was so mad. And then I was even more mad because I realized that my wife had a subscription to both the Post and the New York Times. And I could have just saved myself so much like pain in the ass.
Right.
Because we're like behind the same IP, right?
Right.
So that, like there's not even going to be like, oh, you're on too many devices, buddy.
Have they fixed that though? Because I've incognitoed them recently, and it still kind of works.
No, the incognito is no longer a thing. So,
wow. Well,
it was weird how that went from everybody like they open their porn in incognito windows,
like
and then it's like they've got The Economist up, and
you read the papers of record now, and they're like, I got to get my Wall Street Journal and my. This is where I get the grandpas in the morning. Like, I gotta go incognito and make sure I read my paper in the morning.
All right, Seth, you're number 2.
Oh, that was the entire concept of Division I college football and declaring a national champion thereof. Because we keep subdividing this. So Division I AA, Division 1A, FBS, Power 5, BCS games, playoff. The reality is you have between 3 and 9 teams capable of winning a national championship every year and 30 to 40 teams capable of winning a regional one. You cannot create a perfect playoff because you have 12 to 14 games and 130 teams in vastly different planes of existence. Speaking, of course, of non-playoff bowl games.
Seth, I'm going to start telling you the topics for these after we're done with them.
That's
like you're just going to have to guess from what I'm saying, like what the topic is.
I mean, I could just write down little notes on and say this, but I thought I would lead in with like the big thing, and then get back down to like what really annoys me.
That is true that non-playoff bowl games suddenly, like last year, Michigan's in the Peach Bowl, and 8 years ago, like someone sitting out a BCS level bowl game would have been unthinkable. I mean, if you're in the Red Box Bowl or whatever. okay.
Right. But like the level when there was the BCS game, it was just like there was only 2 teams going to that thing, and everyone else like the Rose Bowl was still a big deal to go to. Now, if you go to the Rose Bowl, if it's not hosting, it's
I still feel the Rose Bowl is a bowl apart.
It would be for us if we won the Big Ten and went there. What if you lose to Ohio State and go to the Rose Bowl? Because they're in the national championship.
It's still different. It's still different.
It's better than Peach. But, Seth, you left out the bowl series from when we were in school, the Alliance Bowl series.
Right.
Yeah.
What about that? That's exciting.
I mean, but there was like if you got into a
that
BCS
was their
bowl,
attempt
it was
to be like the BCS.
All right, you didn't make the national championship game, but you had a season that you were above this rope.
Yeah, like
this
a Rose
line,
Bowl. Yeah.
And so you had a good season. And now it's like you didn't make the playoff, you're a piece of crap.
And the players have let you know because they're not even going to be playing. A lot of the best players are not even going to be in those games. And, like, you have to get down to, like, the Red Box Bowl before the teams are so bad. They're like, we're not sending one to the NFL. Like, they're all coming. Joe Batchy will play that one as long as he tests okay.
I think Lane actually sat out their bowl game. But anyway, Nick, you're number 2.
Okay. So we went to the Maryland game last week, and we went to the Maryland game 2 years ago. And what I really loved about that game 2 years ago was on third down, they had on the Jumbotron the Fear the Turtle.
Okay.
The big turtle. The eyes would go back and forth, and it was kind of spooky, right? Big third down crowd, right?
Spooky, yeah.
The Jumbotron is completely broken in Maryland.
It's broken.
Okay? It's embarrassing.
No, I would give them all this Big Ten money. What did they do with it?
It's literally broken. It's falling apart.
They're paying debts.
But
they literally had a ton of debt, and so that's why they had to move to the Big Ten. Also, I think they haven't been getting a full share until like this year.
They were getting a bigger share than Rutgers, which I thought was fascinating.
Well,
Rutgers came in. They're
some of the payouts have to be based on ever doing anything worthwhile.
But Rutgers, I think, starting this year is now a full payout, right?
Yeah. Anyway, the scoreboard.
Yeah, the scoreboard is totally busted, and to make matters worse, they didn't put the turtle on the scoreboard this year.
There's no turtle.
I was super excited to take a video of it and like post it on Twitter and be like, fear the turtle and all that, and my dreams were crushed.
So what are you supposed to fear at Maryland now? DJ Durkin?
I mean, McFarland.
Yeah. Sure, but like it's like a overall thing.
DJ Durkin had some crazy eyes, man. You stick him up there and be like, fear the turtle? Like, yeah.
Hey, speaking of DJ, in the student section at College Park, they've got a DJ playing music for the students. Like a real DJ playing like Naughty by Nature and stuff.
That sounds like a Brandon activation almost.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of that.
My number 2, and I'm not happy about this, is Yost Ice Arena.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's okay. Like, I mean, it's not okay. They added an arena hostess. So there's like a woman who goes around and like interviews the hockey players who always have fascinating things to say, like we need to get more pucks to the net. And she like introduces like the pizza race or whatever.
Right.
For one, you can never hear anything she says because the acoustics in Yost are horrendous. For 2, every single like break in anything is accompanied by piercingly loud music that is awful and washed out because the acoustics in Yost are terrible. But if there's a 5-second gap between like a face-off, they're gonna fill that with like 2 bars of Hell's Bells or something.
Right.
In a hockey game. And it's just like the students who are there are into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess with the team the way it is, you have to be into something. So they're really into like singing and being happy, and that's just not the Yost I grew up with.
Well, and I mean, they've also put the students off to the side.
Well, there's just so many fewer of them now.
And they play the band on top of them when they start swearing at the guys when they go to the penalty box.
Yeah.
And like I went to the game and sat in a different spot because normally I sit with you in like those gorgeous seats you have.
I don't have them anymore. I gave them up.
Oh.
Because I literally couldn't find anyone who wanted to go to the games with me.
You were taking me. That's pretty much bottom of the barrel.
Well, but like even you were like there for like 4 games a year, right? It's like so.
Yeah, it had to be on the night we podcasted mostly.
So like the
can't come up on a Tuesday.
Like I was like, all right, who wants to go to the game with me? And everybody was like, pass. So it was like, I don't know. I'm not going to carry 2 whole hockey tickets for a season.
So I went and sat up in the ends at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like where all these like students, visiting students and stuff like that, they put there.
Yeah.
And because the music doesn't really get up there, like just the way the acoustics work, I guess like the music kind of gets stopped right there. It was almost like old Yost again. It's dark. It's like the seats are black. Like you're around like high schoolers, but they're like as misbehaved as we were because we were mature enough to be high schoolers back then.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, I think I like rediscovered like a pocket of old Yost up here. And Yost, Red's box is right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So like Red is there like, waving to people and pointing at him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially like the recruits like want to meet him and he just kind of waves. So it was like there was Red and like I felt like I was back in Yost again. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, that's not.
Back in '96, I got accepted to Michigan. I came to a game at Yost, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. Like the goalie, Civ, it's all your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, it's been completely bowdlerized by now, and it's just tough to take.
Well, the Yost had existed from like, I guess 96 to 2003, 2004. Like that's not going to be recreated anywhere.
No, but
a very special mix of like the team and like
it would be nice if the administration didn't seem to set out to kill it. Like, so we talk about how we got rid of Dave Brandon, and I look at Yost and I'm like, I don't know what Dave Brandon would be doing differently at Yost right now.
Well, I think that it was Dave Brandon's plan. Just like Dave Brandon like got credit for building the things that
I know, but like the arena host and the fact that like they have the same stadium DJ that Spartan Stadium has. Like literally, you walk in the parking lot that I walk by, and there's like Stu's Karaoke, or I don't know what the actual name is.
I'm starting to feel sorry for the host based on
the host. I mean,
she seems like a nice girl.
She is probably a nice girl, but she has absolutely no place at Yost Ice Arena. Like it's just the stupidest thing that you could have ever come up with for like this is going to make someone like our hockey game better. A woman who can't even make herself understood because of the acoustics in the arena. It's just, you're on your phone the whole time because the person next to you can't even talk to. And that's, that didn't used to happen at Yost. It happens at Michigan Stadium. I don't know.
I was watching the Michigan State-Illinois game at the Michigan-Minnesota hockey game last week.
How'd that go?
That was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there more people at the Michigan hockey game or the Illinois-Michigan State football game?
All right, Seth, you're number one.
The NCAA.
All right, yeah.
Tear it all down. Start with Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in process.
I mean, the NCAA was supposed to be, and I've done history, right? And
yes, you know your history.
I've been diving deep into like the beginnings of the NCAA right now for the book with Craig.
Oh yeah.
And like the problems that they were trying to address are similar to the problems that we have today, but like the reason that they structured this organization to like, these kids who are unorganized want to play. These kids over here, let's create some standards of play, and it's great. You need an organization like that to like have a league, and that is not at all what this league does. The NCAA is like a mega corporation that is running a massive foundation right now, and like they are not set up. They don't have the powers to do it, and like the whole structure, there's no way to salvage it. Get rid of the rule book, get rid of everything, and have something else.
Well,
I don't care if the Power 5 schools get together and form their own NCAA, but like I don't know if you can salvage what the NCAA is right now.
Honestly, like if Name and Image comes back, and Nike can just be like, all right, Isaiah Todd, you're more valuable to us in Ann Arbor for a year than going over to New Zealand where nobody's going to see you in the NCAA tournament. Here's a couple mil. And everybody's fine with that, then that goes a long way towards getting rid of the hypocrisy because these guys are going to be getting paid. You can have like your fundraiser, your bake sale for having your field hockey player, and if you are into field hockey and you want that woman to sponsor your bistro, then that can happen.
I'm also, it's not just the paying players side of it though, and the hypocrisy side of it. Like these are massive. This is a massive operation, and these are massive organizations that are doing things to win that colleges should not be involved with. Like some of the reason you get a Michigan State or a Baylor or a Penn State is because there's nobody looking over these things because this was set up for the school presidents to be in charge.
Well, a lot of the problem with that is that there's no real like the NCAA isn't authorized to be like, I mean, you're putting guys directly from jail on the practice field.
It wasn't built that way. It was supposed to be a confederation of the school presidents.
But like, is that a role that the NCAA should actually be playing?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like burn it all down. It says like build it up and doing a different thing.
No, burn down the structure that they have now and build a league that has like, okay, we have these powers, and we're not going to deal with the presidents. We're going to deal with the athletic departments.
All right.
Yeah.
Nick, your number one irretrievably broken thing.
Okay, I'm going to go with my little brother and the little brother MSU mindset. Beat Michigan above all else. It's practically their mission statement.
Yes.
Right? Now, I grew up in the East Lansing area, and I was a Spartan fan until '96. Went to Michigan, okay? So I know what it's like to have the Spartan mindset, looking up to Michigan, and the pure hatred, okay? And nothing's ever going to stop that. And in my opinion, I think that it's rotating back, the pendulum's swinging back in our favor now.
Seems like it,
with football, at least.
Yeah.
And I feel really good about that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Right. So that mindset's going to be there. It's broke. They have a broken mindset, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, my number one is anybody who needs psychiatric help, support, whatever you have it, who goes to Michigan State. Because they're not going to help you. If you look at like the people who come out of Michigan State who are a little bit troubled going in, they're more troubled coming out. And that's been the case for both major sports for a long time.
I mean, there's a glaring example gratia with Malik McDowell.
I mean, there's more. I mean, there's Malik McDowell. There's like Keith Mumphrey. There's Mateen Cleaves, Keith Appling.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can even point to, Jeff Smoker. I mean, there's a lot.
Oh, I got a great Jeff Smoker story.
Is it appropriate to tell people?
It is.
All right.
Ready? Okay, so
yes,
my
go.
brother lived in Grand Rapids and he partied with Smoker on campus because he went to state. So he's working in Grand Rapids for the TV station, okay? And they have a
mixer.
A mixer. So guess who's catering?
Jeff Smoker?
Smoker was the
catering?
No. It's not Jeff Smoker catering.
Oh.
It's someone else, ABC catering.
Okay.
And Smoker is serving like the shrimp kebabs, okay?
Okay.
Like the appetizers.
Yikes.
And my brother's like, Smokes, what are you doing? He's like, this is it. The guy could have been in the NFL, okay? And he's serving shrimp.
This is it. All right, that's it. This is it. That's it. All right, how do you get in contact with you if you need some life advice?
Well, I've got a great website that I set up for your followers. It's peakwm.com/mgoblog.
Right.
Great place to start. Or Twitter, Hopwood1.
Hopwood1.
Very original.
You must hate the guy who got there first.
I was upset.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any, creative mindset like Seth, whatever yours is. I can't pronounce it. Yeah.
Back when the internet was young, we all had our avatars. We had our internet names.
Yeah.
And I still think of some people by their internet names, Orson Swindle.
Orson Swindle, yeah.
Yeah. So that my internet name was it means the beard hater.
The beard hater.
Yeah.
What is this?
That's the joke, Brian.
Oh, that's a joke. Wait, you couldn't have picked it when you were probably 14 or whatever.
No, I was 18 or something.
You had a
18,
beard
19.
when you were 18?
I wouldn't call it a beard now, but at the time I thought it was.
Yeah, I had the same beard. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, and preview Michigan State.
What's your ideal retirement age? Are you saving and investing enough to reach your goals? Are you on track to pay off your mortgage before retirement? How much income do you really need in retirement? I'm Nick Hopwood, certified financial planner, founder and president at
Peak Wealth Management
in Plymouth. When clients walk out the door after a planning meeting, they know exactly what their needs are and where they stand relative to their goals. In my experience, most advisors don't do any planning at all. So my guess is now is the perfect time for a second opinion. And you can book your second opinion online at peakwm.com.
Peak Wealth Management.
Retire with confidence.
Hey, so I have insurance and stuff, but I don't really know what's going on with it.
Yeah, your coverage probably sucks, and you're paying way too much for it. And I know this because
I had a guy, his name's Phil Klein. He's actually a Michigan alum and wrestled for Michigan. He looked at my insurance and he was like, yeah, your coverage sucks and you're paying a lot more than you need to for it.
I also I hesitate to even mention this, but I do have my insurance from a company that advertises during college football games. Well, I wish that was not the case.
Well, why don't you just get it from a cool guy who actually reads MGoBlog?
Well, how would I do that? They have a website?
They have one of those too. It's philkleininsurance.com. Can you remember the name Phil Klein?
Sure.
Can you remember insurance?
Yes.
Okay. Use those two together, and you will save money on your insurance, and you will actually get better coverage on your home and your auto, and they do life too.
All right. So you're telling me if I Google Phil Klein Insurance, this website will come up?
Yes.
Wonders never cease.
If you find yourself on the wrong side of the law in Ann Arbor or around Metro Detroit, you want a Michigan man in the huddle. Call former prosecutor and now criminal defense attorney Jonathan Paul at 248-924-9458 or visit his website, michiganlawgrad.com.
The University of Michigan was the place we all came together. It's where we pursued our curiosities and where we rallied around things that really mattered. The Alumni Association has now made it possible for you to reconnect with your fellow Wolverines around endless topics within alumni online communities. It's where you can join in the discussion or start your own on any subject from your career, identity, hobbies, or interests. Go to umalumni.com/communities and keep the conversation going.
This is Matt Demrest, the owner of Homeshore Lending. We're a local mortgage company here to help you purchase with confidence and refinance with ease. People don't get mortgages very often, so it can be confusing. We'll break down every single line item so that it all makes sense. And at the end of the day, if we're not giving you the best deal, we'll tell you to go with the other company. We're here to offer our simple mortgage guidance.
This is Seth Fisher from MGoBlog. Over the years, we've sent dozens of readers to use Homeshore Lending, and every review that's come back has been raving. I myself used them to refinance after doing our original loan through our bank. I was amazed how much smoother the process was for our complicated loan. Brian used them, you should use them too.
Finding out whether it makes sense or not to refinance or getting pre-approved to buy a new home is easy. Head over to homeshorelending.com, that's HOMESURE lending.com/MGoBlog to find out more. Or call us at 734-531-9950. That's 734-531-9950. I've got two of my favorite people here with me, kind of an annual tradition, Cooper and Colby. Cooper, how old are you?
11.
Colby, how about you?
9.
Can I get a Go Blue?
Go Blue!
NMLS number 1161358, Equal Housing Lender.
For all my men in the struggle, this was for you, my baby. My daddy, my brother, my cousin, my uncle, my nephew, your daddy, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your nephew, from past to present. Who paved the way on lockdown or out here with us. Keep your head up and keep your eye on the prize.
Every day I see you struggle, putting strain on your muscles, bearing an enormous load. From the time you came from Ghana, separated from your mother, sailing to a foreign coast. You pay the price under pressure, never stressing how much.
Welcome back to MGoRadio 5.9. I got it right this time.
Yeah, I think it's 9. 9. Number 9.
Live from the Bow Store on Main Street. We now turn our attention to the game tomorrow. Michigan State, noon at the Big House. Michigan is favored by 13.5. Should be cold, but relatively calm and no precipitation, so that'll be...
It's like when the Notre Dame game, you're like, it's just going to rain.
No, I mean, we knew going to the Notre Dame game it was going to be...
It rained. It's going to be... But so this one's going to be cold.
No, it's going to be like 30.
Okay, that's not
30 is not bad.
When you get in the stadium, too, sometimes it feels like a little bit warmer.
30 is you can put on some ski socks and it's fine. 10 is when I'm starting.
I'm definitely doing long underwear tomorrow. I'm not screwing around.
All right.
I took my wife to the Indiana game. That's the snow globe one.
Yeah.
And she was like 7 months pregnant at that time.
Okay.
And I'm in there and it's starting to snow on us and I'm like, what am I thinking? What am I doing? And she's like, you got to get me inside now. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. There's no way to leave the stadium and get her inside in 20 minutes, right?
Because it was snowing?
Well, it was freezing.
It wasn't that cold.
When the snow came, it got pretty cold.
Pregnant women can be outside.
Yes, but it was pretty cold and she was pretty cold. When they start telling you, get me inside, then you got to get them inside.
I mean, it builds character.
I wasn't giving her that speech.
I would love to see that.
I did find a way.
2008, 2009, Tate Forcier at Spartan Stadium.
Uh-huh.
A little bit of snow,
the
cold
Moxie
rain.
Game.
My wife was like 10 months pregnant with me at that game. She was a trooper that night.
Do you know that?
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah. The implication is that she was about to be done.
I see.
Right?
The 39th week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this football game?
We could talk about Michigan State.
I just wanted
offense,
to set the weather because, like, you never want to go into Michigan State and then all of a sudden it's like raining chunks of blood.
It's going to rain chunks of blood.
It's
Michigan
not.
State will see to it.
No, the precipitation chance is currently about 5%.
No, I'm not talking about precipitation. I'm
And it'll
talking
be
about
like
Michigan
fluffies.
State is going to, have little scoops that they go in there with, like to carve little pieces of blood out.
Fluffy little snows. That's what it'll be like if there's any precipitation, which there will not be probably.
There will be participation.
Anyway, Michigan State, we'll start with
they should get a trophy for it, in fact.
We'll start with the fun half of the ball, their offense.
For the second straight year, I signed the entire offensive line.
And in this case, yeah, pretty much, because they have 3 guys who are definitely out.
Yep.
They have another guy who sat out last week with an illness.
Luke Campbell.
And he may come back, but he's not very good.
He's terrible. He's the guy who every single time I scout him, he's getting shoved back 4 yards in the backfield.
And they started 2 true freshmen against Illinois.
Yep.
They're still running a guard named Jordan Reed out there at right tackle.
Yep.
He's still
God,
John Runyon Jr. against Notre Dame every game.
It was hilarious watching him against Chase Young, just because it's just like Chase is like, what do my stats even count against this guy?
Well, I remember there was like some off-season thread where some Michigan State fans had like put together all the damning rushes. Like they were like, look at Lewerke getting annihilated, and it's all Jordan Reed's fault. And I was like, damn.
It's
like
true.
That. I mean, but
they're still putting him out there though. I can't understand why the coaches don't just like.
That's bad because like that like Jordan Reed is going to be the tackle. And like in that situation, like the fans are like, all right, we're going to find the one time he got it right, and we're going to like latch on to the hope because fandom is all about hope, right? And these Michigan State fans were like, this guy is terrible and will not be replaced because we have nobody else. That's correct, but
I mean, imagine if you had to do like 4 straight years of Ulysio. That's kind of what they've been doing there.
I mean, that's. Yeah.
You know what? That's interesting. Neither of those true freshmen are Devontae Dobbs, the 5-star.
He is on their injury list. I found out.
Oh, okay.
So he's like a probable, but I wonder if that. I mean, like.
I don't know. He's not. I haven't seen him play all year.
Yeah, so I don't know about that because like you'd think that if there was an offensive line that a top 50 recruit could break into, it would be this one.
Yeah, well, and you get back to some of the things that scouts were saying about him at like camps. They're like, oh, he's athletic and he's big, but I don't know if I remember tackle right now.
I remember Sam Webb making his call that like Carson Barnhart's going to have a better college career than Dobbs. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. So their offensive line, there are offensive lines in the country that I'd be like, our defensive tackles are in trouble against. This is emphatically not one of them.
Right.
And given that Michigan is going to run out a couple of strong side ends at the end, this is a game that's a place where Michigan can really use their strength to stop up the run.
Right.
And the pass protection is so bad that I think they can get some real rush against the edge guys. So this is like a best of both worlds matchup for Michigan's ends.
So against Ohio State, and this is one of the reasons I watched them against Ohio State, I wanted to see like what they did when they just know it's over, and they just you're like, we're not even going to try to block these guys. So they're running a whole bunch of screens. So like every single time, and it's kind of hard to tell whether you've beaten Jordan Reed because he's Jordan Reed or whether like you just got on a screen. So Ohio State just dropped somebody into a spy on the running back every play, and that was it.
Yeah. So the injury issues don't stop at the offensive line. Their top receiver, Darryl Stewart, is out for this game.
Yep.
Their top tight end went out for the year against Illinois.
He's calling him the top tight end. He was officially the top tight end, but I think the other guy, the Buffalo transfer, Seibert, is a better player. because he's actually like a receiving threat.
Okay.
And the other guy was just like, I'm going to go out there and block because the tackle's not blocking.
Cam Chambers transferred. Their 2 backup running backs transferred. So you've got Elijah Collins. You got Cody White. You've got who was even the other?
Oh, they're actually running Julian Barnett out there.
Well, they ran Julian, and then they had another kid, Trey Mosley.
Trey Mosley is a true freshman who's terrible.
Right. So these are their skill position guys. Collins is pretty good.
C.J. Hayes is the guy that they're going to play over him. Yeah.
Is he coming back from an injury? Because he didn't play against Illinois.
Yeah, he's coming back. He had like a 1-week injury thing.
Okay.
They said he was practicing all week, so I figure he's back.
But Collins is a guy who actually looks like a traditional Michigan State find.
Okay.
Like, he's a big, burly back. He's got nice feet. He can change direction.
Yep.
Like, he's going to be able to make a couple of 8-yard runs out of not much. And
it says something that the other backs in the room looked at this guy and were like, well, I'm never starting here again, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was the only. Because even.
I'm going to stick behind this offensive line this year, and then I'm going to be like.
Yeah.
His third string behind this guy?
Well, I mean, and he's a guy who I think in a different context could be, a guy who's like an all Big Ten player down the road, but he's not in that context.
No. Oh, he's not Le'Veon Bell, but he's going to be one of those.
He's a good player.
He's a good player, and like he's kind of what they need right now if they just need to like churn out some yards, because he can turn a 0-yarder into a 4-yarder sometimes, or he juked Tough Borland and got like a first down when it looked like he was dead. So, and the way the line plays is that like the line knows they're bad, so the way they play is just they're grabbing all the time and like, okay, go ahead and call it every single play, just try it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of like extended doubles where it's like, all right, we're going to try to get a yard, 2 yards.
And if you get upfield on them, what they do is they're going to grab your chest plate and like jump on you. And
yeah, but that's legal, dude. Like, nobody ever gets called for grabbing a chest plate.
Sometimes, I mean, when it looks like a real tackle, it's.
I mean, there are occasional times when that does happen, but that happens when you get bowled over backwards and you pull the guy down with his.
That's what's happening.
No.
No,
it's not. Cause
it happened enough that I was calling it the Allen because it was happening to that guy all the freaking time.
But
against Ohio
if you've turned
State.
that guy
Robert
to the
Landers
side,
just like bowling over that dude.
No, I mean there's nobody out there who's like, oh, we need to really give Michigan State the benefit of the doubt with the refereeing. That's not the situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, I think the officials look at that and they're like, I'm not going to flag these guys every single play.
Oh.
The passing game is very simple and just kind of like throw some guys downfield and I mean, there are a lot of them are legal pick plays, but a lot of them are not legal as well. Like they'll dance along the edge of that as well.
The MSU OPI route is like an MGO blog in the MGO blog lexicon now, because it's like this is pretty flagrantly illegal, but they still do it. And this is a spot where Michigan's adoption of a lot of zone coverages should make them better at.
Yeah, because you'll go blocking the wrong guy, and then there's just somebody on top of you.
You can go try to pick a guy off, and they're just naturally swapping because they're in a zone. So.
Right.
So the problem for Michigan State is that because their offensive line, everything has to be dink, 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 dink.
Uh-huh.
And Lewerke historically has not been accurate enough to maintain that down the field.
No, he'll, 1 every 10 passes, he's just going to wing somewhere.
Right, and then you're behind the chains, you're in trouble. Josh Uche gets to pin his ears back. Not so great.
And Lewerke, this happens with all quarterbacks, but Lewerke especially, the more he gets hit, the more his ability just crashes.
And then Lewerke is coming off a game where he had 96 rushing yards because they started running arc read.
Which is
they've been practicing against it all year, so they thought, well, maybe we'll see if it works.
I wonder where they found that play.
And it did work.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a perfect use of their talent because it's mostly blocking with the tight ends, and your quarterback is good at reads, and you got a quarterback and a running back. It works for them.
I don't think it's going to be particularly effective against Michigan for the same reason.
No, I think the things that they might get us with are going to be like a couple weird pulls, and like they're really good at like pulling one guy one way and then running the play the other direction.
The only thing about that is, so we talk about the Michigan State fall camp drive.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if they can pull off a fall camp drive given the chaos that they've had on this offensive line, because like
true freshmen,
you got true freshman guys who are on the scout team, like they aren't running the fall camp drive,
right?
Like, and if they do try to run the fall camp drive, are they going to succeed at executing it? And there wasn't one last year. Like,
No.
we were all braced for it. And
Right.
it was just like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3
Well,
and
in
out.
the 2016 one, you forget there were a couple chances when they had 3rd and 5, and then they converted it on a good play. But
Yeah, but that was definitely a fall camp
like,
drive.
Yeah, but that was like D'Antonio's opus, and everything worked on it. Like, if one of those plays didn't work, then they're in 3rd and long, and the whole thing's scrapped.
Yeah, but they worked.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll be tough for them to have the drive where they're just keeping it around, because they, not necessarily that they wouldn't do it for Michigan, but they just don't have the personnel consistency to rep all this new stuff and then execute it.
The one play that they have that kind of works for them is everything is going wrong. It looks like Lewerke's about to die, and then he flips it to a running back or fullback who's just kind of standing there.
Okay.
And then that guy runs for a lot of yards.
All right,
I saw that happen against Ohio State and Illinois.
All right, well, if that's their offense, I predict good things.
I think we can safely move on.
Let's take one last break. Come back, talk about the tougher side of the ball.
In southeastern Michigan, the yearly cost for a nursing home averages
$110,000.
It doesn't have to, though. Reed McCarthy founded Ann Arbor Elder Law after handling a tricky situation for his own family. Years of experience later, his boutique firm works with clients across southeast Michigan, dealing with Medicaid planning, long-term care, and tax, disability, and family law, not to mention family dynamics. If you have a family member who may need that level of care, or if you're ready to start your own estate plan, Reed can give you a plan for the future. Visit AnnArborElderLaw.com or call 734-945-9693. That's 734-945-9693.
Are you planning a business trip, a Michigan reunion, or a revenge tour in Ann Arbor and don't want to be stuck out by I-94? Look no further than the Residence Inn Ann Arbor downtown. Positioned at the corner of Huron and Ashley, the hotel is just a block from Main Street and a short walk to Michigan Stadium and Central Campus with all the amenities you expect. Also, we podcast here most Sunday mornings, so if you let us know you're coming, we'll let you put a shout out on the pod. That's the Residence Inn Ann Arbor downtown.
Let me just tell you a couple things to keep in your mind while you're out there. When we take the field, we're going to win. We've got big goals. We've got big ideas. We've got to win this game, and there is no game on the remainder of our schedule more important than the one you're going down to the tunnel to play today. Now let's go. Let's go.
Underground Printing is proud to present The Bow Store. Visit us at our new location at 333 South Main or online at www.bow.team.
The University of Michigan was the place we all came together. It's where we pursued our curiosities and where we rallied around things that really mattered. The Alumni Association has now made it possible for you to reconnect with your fellow Wolverines around endless topics within alumni online communities. It's where you can join in the discussion or start your own on any subject from your career, identity, hobbies, or interests. Go to umalumni.com/communities and keep the conversation going.
Say, do you like clickbait? Do you like articles that take about 5 minutes and zero knowledge to write? Well, you listen to this podcast and you probably read MGoBlog, which means you don't, and it's probably time to get that Athletic subscription. I'm going to get you 40% off. Just listen in. The Athletic is a subscription-based sports news site delivering in-depth sports coverage for diehard fans. You read exclusive stories on Michigan football by Nick Baumgartner and Austin Meek, Michigan basketball by Brendan Quinn, national stories from writers you know like Bruce Feldman, Stuart Mandel, and Seth Davis. There's no ads, no pop-ups, no clickbait. The Athletic is setting a new standard for sports news coverage. You can join today with Wolverines content you won't find anywhere else and get 40% off your annual subscription by going to theathletic.com/MGoBlog. Again, that's athletic.com/MGoBlog.
Want the perfect game day outfit? Underground Printing has unique, great-fitting apparel and officially licensed apparel from legendary Michigan names like Woodson, Howard, Schembechler, Ufer, and more. UGP also specializes in custom printed apparel and promotional items for groups, events, and businesses. Whether you need one shirt as a gift or 1,000 shirts for a charity walk, Underground can customize almost anything for groups large or small. To learn more, visit Underground Printing at one of our 3 convenient locations around Ann Arbor or online at undergroundshirts.com.
This your girl, Nico Red. What's going on, Detroit City? It's for all them ballers, all the hard working pimp players, all them gator wearing gangsters and gangstettes. This for y'all. It's the here and there capital of the world. Get that money. I'm from the home of them YB eyes, where the people don't smile if your rims don't shine.
Welcome back to MGoRadio 5.9 live from the Bow Store on Main Street.
That was Nico Red, by the way, a neo-soul artist from the west side of Detroit. She's touring Europe as a member of Amp Fiddlers, worked with Boney James, George Duke, Kid Rock. Debut album is we're listening to now. It's called No Discipline.
So
that's why I saved it for this week. And she's a Michigan fan. She doesn't read the site, unfortunately.
That's okay. Not everybody has to read the site.
No, everyone must read the site.
No. I don't want, like, moms reading the site. Like moms of players.
This is a musician.
Not like moms.
Detroit.
I
was like, what's wrong with?
Yeah,
it's just too many. Like, but like, I don't want you to be like, -2 on this play, and mom's like, oh no, I'm gonna kill this guy.
I know for a fact that many of them do.
I hope the mom of the Yost girl doesn't listen to this.
I don't have a problem with the Yost girl.
Well, the players sometimes remember.
It's the person who put her in that.
I have the problem with
the
concept of the Yost Ice Arena, the most vicious sporting event, venue in the country, having a sunny event hostess.
Gotcha.
So the players,
it's the context,
the players remember it, and the players will remember from like years ago when you gave them a -3 for a play.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "That wasn't my fault. Actually, that was like our cornerback was supposed to drop into that, and I like did what I did because like I realized the play was gonna be dead if I didn't." And like then Brian gives me a -3, and like I come out bad, and like there's a whole discussion on me. I'm like screw you guys.
I wish you hadn't told me that.
I won't tell you who it is then.
I understand that this is the thing that has to happen because I'm not given the play call, obviously.
Right.
So I have to make some educated guesses, and what I try to do is I try to piece together the play and see like, okay, how many people screwed up on this? It's probably one. So what is the one different action that makes this play make sense? I'll give you an example. In the Maryland game, the speed option 3rd and 3 conversion.
Okay.
I put that on Josh Uche.
Okay.
And I put that on Josh Uche because Michigan had a huge bubble between Uche and Aiden Hutchinson. So it's an invitation to run at that bubble.
Mm-hmm. Michigan
backs a guy out, Maryland checks. And they run a speed option. They send the guy out into the flat to block. Cam McGrone hauls ass over that guy.
Right.
And I'm like, all right.
That's a McGronism that we've.
No, I mean that's what he's supposed to do because there's a McFarland's out there. He's there for the pitch.
Okay.
So like hauling ass, he gets over that guy. He beats that guy's block by the play call.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, this is an RPS plus in developing, but they get the first down, and why is that? It's because Josh Uche played the option responsibly.
Okay.
Like he forms up on the quarterback, and he's like, all right, I got to do something about this. And instead, like given the actions of everybody else around him and the structure of the play, what he needs to do is just crunch the quarterback immediately.
Right, force the pitch as soon as possible because they're gathering towards the pitch.
And I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But like that's my case. Is that like this doesn't make any sense unless Josh Uche does this.
Right.
And that's why the -2 goes out.
I think you've probably gotten better at it too since this particular player played.
Sure, certainly, yeah, certainly.
Do you remember who you gave the -2 on the trouble with the snap?
I don't grade special teams.
Ah.
And that was not a -2, it was a -34. Anyway, Michigan State's defense remains pretty salty. We had an interesting like kind of dichotomy because you saw them play Illinois where they crushed their ground game.
Right.
And I'm looking at the stats, and Ohio State crushed their rush defense.
Yeah.
Wisconsin crushed their rush defense. And if you take out the Tulsa game at the beginning of the year, where Tulsa rushed 25 times for -73 yards.
Right.
Because they kept snapping it over their quarterback's head.
Right.
If you just delete that game.
Then you think that they're not a great rushing defense?
They're giving up 3.7 yards a carry, which is about middle of the pack in the Big Ten. And they've done pretty well against Penn State.
They haven't gotten their Rutgers game yet, so everybody gets like a little bit of like a 0.5 bump on your rushing game.
But if you look, but like even among the teams that aren't particularly good, they're getting like 3 yards a carry. Like Indiana's at 2.8, Penn State's at 3.
And this is before they lost Joe Bacci.
Right. So last year they were absolutely crushing those ground games. This year they're just good.
Yeah.
And so
I have theories.
All right, yeah, I mean
well, first of all, it's the safety. They went from having a safety who like was not a great athlete but still made the NFL because he's so good at reading plays and getting down there. Like they had a Kovacs guy last year.
Okay.
They replaced that guy with Xavier Henderson, who's a lot more athletic and way, way worse at like knowing where he's supposed to be.
Okay.
He takes terrible angles sometimes. I was close to giving him a Scion for it.
Okay.
So, remember the way Michigan State plays, the safeties are part of the run defense.
Yes.
And like if they screw up, you're out of guys.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of, on a down-to-down basis, you're going to get crushed by Raquan Williams. You're going to get, like, Willikes is going to play your zone read option, both sides of it, and it's going to kill that. Mike Panishuk is an underrated dude at defensive tackle. It's like they're a Godin kind of guy.
Godin doesn't get a star. You gave that guy a star.
I gave Godin a star.
No.
I did, too. Go back and look.
No way.
16, Godin
you
got a
shouldn't
star.
have given Godin a star.
We were looking at...
Solid player.
We were getting the...
No.
That's when we were getting PFS reports.
No.
And we were like, should we give this guy a star?
There
was a conversation about it. Yeah, so
I refuse to believe that.
I mean, he's not a great pass rusher, but like their run defense was solid. I think that without Bacci, they're fine for Illinois, but like their linebackers are now very hybrid space playery.
Mm-hmm.
And the defensive line is doing a good job of keeping them clean, but one of the things that Michigan's always been good at under Harbaugh is getting down to those linebackers.
Well, that's one thing that kind of pops out about last week's game plan. Well, 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
You're running a lot of gap stuff that you haven't been running all year. And, like, if you can use Onwenu and Ruiz to, like, move out a Panishuk.
Right.
Like, and get to those linebackers, you can kind of, like, mitigate the Willikes and Raquan Williams side of that line.
Right.
By running power away from them.
Right.
So, if Michigan...
Until they start slanting that way and you kind of
the
other way, yeah.
But then you've got a constraint play for that you can use, right? Hopefully. So, I mean, I kind of feel like Michigan's had a bye week with Bacci out of the way. You're going to have some potential to get the linebackers moving the wrong way if you go like full Harbaugh offense.
Yeah.
And like I feel like Michigan is going to be able to crack this run defense for a couple of decent plays, especially if like the Shea Patterson run game comes back. Which I'm a little dubious of, to be frank.
I mean, the guys that I'm kind of interested in testing, first of all, bomb it. Please bomb it. I'm sure we'll get back to the passing defense in a second. But second of all, Antoine Simmons, who's, I think he's from Ann Arbor, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. He is like a little lightning. I mean, he will go from spot A to spot B very, very quickly.
I mean, they have like 3 Vipers, basically, at linebacker.
Yeah, and that's what he is. He's a 6'0", 216 Viper, and they're playing him at middle linebacker right now because they've had to shuffle everybody for Bacci because the guy they brought in is now basically the Viper.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy, I mean, he's good when he doesn't have to do a lot of thinking. But, like, if Michigan makes him have to, they show him a lot of complicated stuff. Like, I don't know what he is if he has to stand still for a second.
Right.
And then, again, getting to him because the defensive tackles are really good. I mean, their strong side end is the younger Panishuk. It's still just kind of a – you don't want to go against that guy because he's going to try to injure you, but that's about it.
Was it him or was it the other guy?
It was him.
All right.
It was him. He's one of those players.
One of those guys?
One of those guys that, like, another program you might be like, okay, bring your guy in, and Michigan State is not going to do that. So.
Well, in the secondary, we also had kind of a disparate opinion. You kind of think that Josiah Scott can be a dude, and I look at his stats.
He's got his dude moments.
And we look, you look at our like favorite rough and ready cornerback metric, which is unassisted tackles versus PBUs.
Right.
33 unassisted tackles, 4 PBUs. So that's not a guy who's making a lot of plays on the ball. Especially in Michigan State's defense, because those cornerbacks aren't involved in the run game.
Yeah, and Josiah Scott is much more of a going to hit you than hit the ball kind of guy.
Right.
And sometimes that results in a tackle 10 yards downfield that you'll feel because you held onto the ball. But he's not really ever going for the ball. He's just I want to hit you kind of guy.
But that's not what you want against, like, I don't know, Nico Collins.
No, but I mean, he is going to be there, and he's going to be. He can keep up.
And then there are
the other cornerbacks that I'm like.
There are other cornerbacks. One of them is the guy who got annihilated by Peoples-Jones last year.
Right.
One of them is a guy who just got annihilated by Josh Imhator-Bebe.
Which happens to people, but.
Which happens to people, but also like he's not even in a position to get a play on in the ball.
So here's what happened with that you and I were arguing about Josh Butler a little bit, and then like a Michigan State fan came on in the comments and was like, "No, Brian's right. Josh Butler should get a sign. He's been terrible this year." So I concede that one to you.
I mean, like you watch these guys, and you have to be able to defend guys one-on-one as Michigan State cornerbacks. I just have my questions about both these guys, honestly.
He's just very grabby, and I've seen a lot of grabby cornerbacks from Michigan State in the past. I'm like, well, if that doesn't get called, then he's a good cornerback. The other guy, Shakur Brown, he was coming off an injury in Illinois. Like every single time that guy stepped on the field, they threw it at him.
Yeah.
And that was the guy who ended up singled up against Mater Bebe with no safety help.
But why are you rotating this guy in if you have a guy that you have some confidence in? I kind of feel like this is you have 3 cornerbacks, which means you don't actually have 2 at this one spot.
That could be true.
I
think that Shakur Brown is the guy that they want because Butler, I think he's out of eligibility after this year.
They want the guy who just got Imhator-Bebe'd repeatedly without even getting a rake in at the ball?
Yeah, because he's a sophomore and he was near a 250 recruit.
All right, well, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That Nico Collins should be testing, 15 times in this game?
So the guy that they have at nickel is the dude that like both you remember him from like the DPJ play. He was the one who fell down.
But they're never gonna have the nickel on there, except on a passing down.
Yeah, but on a passing down you can still go bomb it.
But I mean, on a passing down, those safeties.
Anytime you want to.
I know those safeties aren't going to be firing down at any kind of run action.
Right.
So I feel like you need first and any kind of running down play action, you're going to get your wide receivers singled up on those cornerbacks.
Yes.
And you need to take those shots.
Yes.
And I feel like Michigan is going to have time to let those develop because, Willikis is a pretty good pass rusher. We've seen both of Michigan's tackles do well enough against guys like Penn State's Yetur Gross-Matos.
Yeah.
Like Mayfield has some issues here and there, but if you go max pro, if you just leave in a tight end and a back, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then those safeties are going to come up on run action, and you have the time to take one-on-one shots downfield. And if they don't do it in this game, I swear, God.
Well, and Michigan State has a platform that we can use that Felton Davis fade that they ran all the time, where they just run him downfield and then he basically you throw it short and he goes up and gets it.
Well, I mean,
they've been trying to do it with Cody White too.
I mean, Peoples Jones on a post.
Yeah,
there's so many opportunities for Michigan to take their shots downfield in an environment where the weather's going to be nice. Like Patterson was very good at throwing downfield last year, not as great this year, but still that's probably the most effective part of his game.
Right.
And they just don't do it. And if they continue not doing it, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I go back to that guy that Spath quoted who was like, hey, they're not doing it because Shea's not going to throw it.
I mean,
and they don't trust their pass protection to last long enough to let it get downfield.
No, and that's not accurate because I've been grading these guys out.
And they're fine at pass pro.
They've been better than fine. They have been like an A.
The interior is certainly an A.
I mean,
I don't know if I would.
I mean, you're looking at Jalen Mayfield gives up 2 or 3 instances a game where a guy gets most of the way around him and forces the quarterback to flush. Runyon has maybe 1 instance a game where he gets beat clean, and then that's it. And I know that the competition level is.
Do you remember when they went against Penn State and they actually had some good defensive ends who were like pass rushing and like they didn't get like beat up. It wasn't like a Notre Dame last year game, but it was okay, these guys have a ceiling. And their ceiling is probably going to be Kenny Willekes.
Well, no, I mean, I graded that game, and I'm pretty sure that they cracked 80% pass pro in that game.
Okay.
Which is, like, excellent. Because, like, 80% in any one lineman is bad.
Right.
But if your whole line is keeping a guy clean 80% of the time, like, that's a platform to have success from.
You're right. It was a pretty good.
And then
Shea got comfortable in that game, too.
Right. And then if you have a situation where, your main blitz is going to be your double A gap. Michigan, in all but 1 year under Harbaugh, has had that downloaded. They had it downloaded last year. I feel like there's going to be opportunities to get big chunk passing plays.
I just don't. believe it's going to happen. I just don't believe Michigan's going to. Michigan sees this as a rivalry. They see this as these guys are like trying to injure us in the whole thing last year. And what's Harbaugh's response every single time he gets one of those games? I'm going to run it down their throat.
I mean, I think that you're going to have to run the ball a significant amount because I think you're going to be able to crack 3, 4, 5 yards a carry depending on if you can get some 10, 20-yard runs. But they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit on the ground, and that's going to suck guys up, and then you're going to hit them over the top. But you can't go an entire football game against Michigan State and throw one deep ball like they did last week.
Yeah.
Like that, you can't do that.
I mean, they did that. They did that against Maryland. This is a little bit different.
How many deep balls were there against Penn State?
I mean,
3? And there were.
I'll be fine if they throw only like one Nico Collins deep ball because Michigan's winning this 24-0 the whole game.
Okay.
Like if the running game like pops right away and then like they get a couple early scores, which is certainly doable against this team, then fine. And then they might just put it away.
The first drive should be nothing but deep shots.
I've been all with you on this the whole time. You saw like the first thing I said is like take some deep shots.
All right.
Take some deep shots. But
all right.
That's what you're gonna get from this offense. I'm trying to preview it against like the offense we're gonna see, which is gonna be pin and pull and arc read and
special teams. Nothing much to say except their kicker has been pretty wonky this year, 13-20. Good from 42 yards.
Yeah,
not as good from 47. And you gotta make sure that you count how many guys they have out there for their field goal unit. Score prediction.
24-3.
I had 26-11. Well, that would be satisfying. The nail in the coffin. Let's hope it happens.
I mean, I love a 72-0 right now.
How about 27-9?
Who's got it better than